Hi, so what brings you here today?
Well, I wanted to come in because I've noticed that I'm starting to have a really serious problem with smoking, and it's really starting to affect my day-to-day life. So I figured I could come in and talk to somebody about it.
Okay, so you notice that your smoking is just having like more of a negative effect on you.
Yeah, like I've noticed that I start to do it earlier and earlier, and when I like earlier and earlier in the day, and when I do that, it kind of messes up my entire day plan, and then it starts to cut into like my school and like my gym routine, and I just feel like I am being super unproductive all because of just my smoking habits.
Okay, have you been in a situation where you've kind of been able to control your smoking habits before?
Yeah, I definitely think that since I started living with the people I'm living with right now, it has gotten much worse because it's that sort of peer pressure aspect where if they're doing it and I'm doing homework, they'll be like, well, why aren't you smoking? And I'll be like, okay, fine, and I'll go smoke with them. So I think when I didn't live with them, I hardly ever smoked. So it's definitely increased since I moved into my apartment.
Tell me more about how you think that like even being around your roommates and things like that, how you can avoid some of the peer pressure.
Well, I think that I need to be a little bit more strong and firm in my stances against it because if I know that I have a big assignment due, then I need to learn to say no. Um, I'm living with like my best friend, so I need to like keep telling myself that they're still gonna like me even if I say no for a couple nights in a row if I have an exam. So I think starting with that and just kind of like rebuilding my self-confidence like in my relationships and knowing that they're still going to be my friend even if I don't smoke with them because I have to do an assignment.
Right. So you know that saying no is really important in your life right now when it comes to your smoking habits.
Yeah.
Okay. And you also know that like you also know how to like kind of prioritize like the work that you need to do
Right.
and replace.
Yeah, so I think that definitely is what I'm starting to think I need to do just because I've really fallen back on a lot of my stuff because of this. I think I really just got caught up with living with my best friends and wanting them to think I was like the fun roommate and not like the nerdy, studious one. So that has been really hard, but it's pretty obvious with my grades that something's not working.
Yeah. So tell me more about how you can like move on from this and kind of like.
Well, I think I could talk to them and tell them that I'm at a really important part in my college career right now and it requires a lot of attention from me, and just because I'm saying or just because I'm stopping smoking for however long I need to doesn't mean that I'm not still like the fun friend that they have. It's just that I have a lot of priorities in my life right now that I need to focus on that smoking inhibits me from being able to see clearly.
So you still want to be valued, but also respected from the decisions that you're making with your friends.
Yeah, I think it's really important to me that they don't see me as someone who's not fun or like a buzzkill. I don't want them to not want to live with me just because I don't live exactly like they do, because not all of them are as involved with school and involvement as I am. So it gets kind of difficult sometimes to stress those stresses on them to make them understand how I feel. So I think talking with them and sitting down and being vulnerable with them and letting them know that it is hard for me and I have other responsibilities, I think that could be a huge step.
Tell me about a time where you've kind of confronted a situation like this before.
I guess I kind of did this kind of similar in high school when I realized I wanted to go to the University of Florida. I was the only one of my friends that got in, but prior to that, I didn't want to like drink and party as much as all of my friends were because I was studying and I wasn't getting involved and I was doing community service because I really had this goal in mind and I really wanted to go to UF. And I sat all my friends down and I was like, listen guys, like I still am really good friends with you and I still love all of you, but I just have this one thing that I need to do for myself, so I'm going to be a little bit distant for a little bit. And they took it very well and they respected me for it, so it was really nice to be able to do that with my friends.
Good. So let me go ahead and summarize really quick.
Okay.
So you're basically in today because you believe that you need to kind of change your smoking habits, mainly because you're not doing so well in school and you notice you need to change things, you need to kind of like set priorities, and you notice that you have been engaging in some of these smoking habits because of your roommates that you've been living with. You also feel very pressured, but something that you do understand is that you should be more open and more willing to kind of say no and set your boundaries with your friends. But again, like you just want to feel like they understand.
Right.
And so you did say that prior to the situation that you've had an experience where you have confronted the situation with your friends, and they were very understanding.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, you know that you need to have this conversation. Do you know when you want to do it?
I think the sooner the better, because this needs to fix itself quickly so that I can wrap up my year at UF and then start off to a strong foot with grad school and everything. So definitely, probably this week.
This week?
After this, tomorrow, sometime soon.
Okay, so what is the sooner the better looks like for you exactly?
I guess after this conversation, when I go home, I can ask them if they're all home, if we can talk.
Okay, so you feel more confident with talking to them as soon as possible after this?
Yeah, I do. I think it'll help.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming in today.
Thanks.